Power Lunch. I'm Robin Warner, and I'm going to be wearing two hats today, my Network Nova hat and my Postcards for VA hat, because today is the big reveal. We have a great team in the Zoom room for you today. Now, it wouldn't be Network Nova if we didn't have our own Stair Calhoun, who's with us today. And our dear Catherine couldn't be hosting today, but she's calling in, so she's dancing with us. But helping me run the Zoom are two dedicated, amazing postcarders. We have Lisa Howard, who's my co-founder of Postcard for VA. Hey, Lisa. And Jen Runkle, who runs the amazing Postcards for VA Alexandria. Today, our spotlight group are the Silver Panthers from Goodwin House Independent Living, and Georgia Fuller will be telling us about them. Then we are going to do our big reveal for 2020. The number is not just big, it is colossal. Then we'll be joined by our candidates who will talk about what we can do for the next 38 days to help them win. We'll be moving on to a segment called All About Election with Kate Hanley. And of course, we have music and door prizes. And speaking of door prizes, let's start off with a spin of the wheel. Stair, what's our door prizes for today?
Okay, welcome everybody. Our door prizes for today, well, we're only having one. It's two door prizes, but it's only one spin. So, and you have to be present to be here. So I did want to let everybody know that we've got great swag at thebadassboutique.org, and we now have stickers. We just found stickers. So if you want stickers, go to the Badass Boutique. They are actually a penny a piece, but I'm going to take the price down to nothing. So if you want stickers, go in and order them. And do you want me to say the prize first? All right, the prize first.
Yes, say the prize, and then we're going to do the spin.
The prize is this fabulous t-shirt that I am wearing, which says what we're doing, which is taking back power everywhere. Okay, we have them in medium and in larges. And our fabulous mug, we flip Virginia blue because Virginia is my district. All right, let's spin it, Robin.
All right, let's do it. Okay, here we go. A spin of the wheel. Oops.
Look at all those names.
Present to win. Here we go.
Look at those names. It's fabulous.
That's awesome.
I love the colors. There are colors.
All right, is Vanessa McIntyre here? Vanessa, introduce, woohoo, or say no?
Yeah, unmute yourself if you're here.
Are you here, Vanessa?
Going once.
Once, twice.
Okay, let's spin it again. Yeah, you got to be quick and
okay,
through.
Here we go.
How many names are in that wheel? That's amazing.
100
people.
65 or so.
Hey, Elena Adesso, are you here?
Come on, Elena.
Elena? No? All right, one more time. Third time's the charm.
Third time's the charm. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
I now have the participants in an alphabetical order so I can check it quickly.
Smart.
Well, they don't go in automatically in.
Marie Haynes?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah,
Fabulous!
Yay!
Yay!
Okay.
All right, all right, all right.
Okay, please put
Thank
your
you
address.
so much.
Please put your address in the chat. Congratulations.
Privately to Stair. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Marie. All right, so we are now ready to spotlight our group for the day, and that's Georgia Fuller. So Lisa, I'm turning it over to you.
Hi, everyone. 100 people. It's great to see you. You know, if you haven't seen me around, Robin and I co-created Postcards for VA, but I haven't always been able to come to the parties, but I'm here today. And Robin always says that what I brought to the table was the idea of having parties and having large groups. And so this used to be Party Central. As you can see, I was well prepared and documented all of our activism. But today we're spotlighting Georgia Fuller's group, and they are really amazing. They have a great name for one, Silver Panther. I mean, can't beat that. And there are seniors in the community that have been writing for us, and she has some great stories to tell us from her group at Goodwin House. So take it away, Georgia.
Thanks a lot. I really want to begin by thanking you because you have allowed us, our little group, to be part of a larger, wider resistance movement. And that has been so important to us because we live in a gilded cage here, particularly with the COVID virus. We're locked in. There are about 500 of us. I think there were 24 who voted for Trump, and the rest of us were in shock, not sure what to do. We were motivated and gathered by the Women's March, focused by the Muslim ban, because in this very house, we have at least 10 refugees from Hitler's dominated Europe, including 3 Holocaust refugees and 2 who actually survived concentration camps. So this was really, really close to us. We were focused by the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh. One of our members was an ER nurse, emergency nurse in one of the hospitals that regularly took in the casualties from the Brett Kavanaugh type parties that were given during that time. And then shortly after that, we found Stair and Robin, who held my hand and helped me figure out how to bring this group in and give us a sense of accomplishment and add to your accomplishments. What I had to do was figure out how to change things around a little bit because we have a lot of people who have trouble writing. So I designed very specific postcards that had all the information on it for the candidate we were working for. All it took would be an address and a more personal note, like, my grandchildren's future depends on you voting for Abigail Spanberger, signing your name. We had one woman who was rare from the very beginning, writing, and suddenly discovered that she had a tremor in her right hand and she just couldn't even write on the lines. Not to be stopped, she decided to train herself to write with her left hand. That only worked out well enough for her to write a big check for us so that we could buy stamps. People who couldn't write bought stamps, helped pay for the stickers that Robin provided for us, helped pay for the postcards, put the stickers on, put the stamps on. I want to tell you about 3 of our people who could only write on lines. One of them had cognitive difficulties. One has Parkinson's. And the other, oh gee whiz, now I can't remember. Vision problems, macular degeneration. They teamed up with other members. So the 3 of them would write the addresses because we had lines on the cards. And the other member of that team would write the message. So it was amazing. We had first agreed we were going to do 1,000 postcards. I was so confident in my new design that I pushed it up to 1,500 without telling anybody. So we worked for Elaine Luria, and Abigail Spanberger. Then people got excited about Cameron Webb, so I designed another postcard. 2,600 postcards down the line, I said to folks, okay, we've more than exceeded our original goal. What do you want to do now? And one of the members looked at me blankly and said, what else are we going to do? And another one who was pushing her walker outside the door stopped and turned around and looked at me and said, we can't get tired until after the election. And so I designed 1,400 more postcards for Jennifer Weston. And I really, really want to thank you for all the help you've given us and for letting us be part of this wonderful group.
Georgia, that's fabulous.
Stair, we've exceeded capacity. Change the amount to 500, please. Stair, change the amount to 500. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Georgia.
You're welcome. Thank you.
What a fabulous total. And I love the way you just were able to move with your group and bring in everybody, no matter what their difficulties were. We thought we were facing a lot when people were saying, I'm not a good writer, or my handwriting doesn't work. You faced a lot worse obstacles and you made it work. So good for you. We congratulate the Silver Panthers.
Thank you.
All right. So now we are going to begin the big reveal. Our big reveal for 2020. This is an amazing achievement for this 100% grassroots volunteer effort. Words have power. Words are healing. Words can bring people together. Writing postcards is an act of love and patriotism. Before we announce the number, let's hear about the power of postcards from some of our postcard writers.
Writing postcards opened the door to my growing political engagement. I write postcards for local, state, and federal elections. During this pandemic, postcarding is even more effective in reaching voters, so door-to-door canvassing will be limited.
So
When elections can be won by one
make
vote,
sure you'll be able to get in.
one postcard may make that difference.
And I've seen how amazing postcards can be. I was able to get a bunch of my friends and neighbors who are progressive, but who don't usually get super involved in volunteering and politics.
We'll see.
They all got really excited to come and write postcards with me. We did hundreds of postcards that got sent out to voters in my precinct. And then when I later went out canvassing to get out the vote in November, I would knock on doors, and probably 5 or more times somebody would answer the door and say, hey, did you guys send the postcards? They had it on their fridge, or they were ready to bring it to the polls.
I know that handwritten postcards work because I've been at the polls handing out sample ballots, and people have come up to me and shown me the postcards that they got in the mail.
The reason that I write postcards is it gives me something tangible that I can do to be part of the process, to address the issues that I care about, and I just feel connected to the people that I'm writing the postcards to, that we're all in this together and we've got to get out the vote. So it gives me a way to tangibly do something hands and feet for the values that I care about. And today I'm postcard writing with my daughter.
Back in 2017, 25 of us got together at a coffee shop and decided there was something we had to do to get, you know, who out of the White House. And so we began weekly meetings, writing cards for, at that time, Virginia candidates. And we ultimately expanded to almost a group of 125.
Flipping Virginia Blue last year was so fun. We wrote nearly 40,000 postcards all over Virginia, we being like 300 friends working from a coffee shop, and it was just very satisfying.
I am a believer in writing postcards for political campaigns. In February, I invited 20 friends and neighbors over for an evening party, enticed them with a little wine. 19 people out of 20 came. We wrote on 2,000 postcards. And since then, since the pandemic and quarantining, we've been handing out packets. People are eager to make a difference.
Writing postcards to voters in the era of Trump has always been therapy.
Even though we are no longer meeting, we still meet every Friday morning on our Zoom call. And it still generates the kind of enthusiasm that we're used to.
I've recently been described as a late life activist. Now, I'm not sure about that description, but I can guarantee you in every interaction with a potential voter, I make sure they hear our message, which is to register to vote, study the issues, and vote. And yeah, I write postcards.
I really liked how bright,
positive and charming our postcards are. A handwritten, envelope-free card will catch the eye better than junk mail.
But before COVID, we met in a public place. We were at Starbucks. And I loved that for those 3 years, there were thousands of people that saw us engaging in civic action. Civic action is mostly hidden in the United States, except for when we vote. If we're voting in person, maybe we belong to a grassroots group, but often you just don't see it.
Last year, our group wrote nearly 12,000 postcards. That alone is remarkable, but it's not the best part. What is amazing is how we encouraged our network of wonderful volunteers to be brave and take that next step. We broke down all barriers to volunteering by meeting their needs so they could engage. In 2019, our group volunteered to babysit for free so people could door knock and phone bank and text bank. Our Postcards and Politics group sent almost 100 volunteers to work the polls in March, with about 80 of those being first-timers. We have recruited 5 precinct captains from our group. Prior to 2019, 3/4 of our group had never volunteered before writing postcards. We are building a family of lifelong activists through the power of postcards. Thanks so much. Now get to writing.
Great.
All right, so let the countdown begin. Give me 1 second to get us up. So if you had trouble getting in, we exceeded capacity, and Stair is fixing that for us. But we'll be getting a. I know Stair can fix that for us. So here we go.
Let everybody know that we are live on Facebook.
And we're live on Facebook. Okay, countdown begins. So in 2017, we wrote 136,000 postcards. We got the Avengers elected. We were astounded at this number. When we started, we were as green as our candidates, and we started giving out just 5 addresses per person. Then we launched the 100 Postcard Challenge, and demand skyrocketed. We supported 27 candidates, and we supported everyone who was brave enough to step up and run. In 2017, we learned that postcard parties were the way to go, thanks to Lisa here, who had a hunch that it was the parties, it was the building community that was key. We backed Lisa's hunch with the citizen engagement study that showed us just how powerful postcard parties would be.
And I wanted to tell you a few stories. One is about Hala Ayala, who came to us as a young green campaigner herself, saying that, you know, she was so happy because her sister, who lives in her district, had actually gotten a postcard and called her up and said, "Hey, I'm voting for you." And the other story was Tom Perriello, campaigning down in Charlottesville area and knocking doors. And he said, he walked up to us, didn't even know that he knew who we were, walked up to us at a party and said, "Hey, you guys, postcards are getting really big. Every time I knock doors, people say to us, 'I got your postcard.'" And he has to admit that they weren't from him. But so we went from being kind of put in the back burner, postcards will never work, to, hey, postcards work.
So in 2018, the postcard groups sprang up all over the state. These once knitting groups, books groups who had become wine drinking groups were now all writing postcards. In 2018, we almost doubled the amount of postcards we mailed, coming up with 332,000 postcards, and we got our 3 women elected in 2018. Now, in 2019, the people who had written with us in 2017 and 2018 were now running for office. We were so excited how many previous postcard writers were now writing. And in this photo, you see the big postcard of VA team. I want to introduce our other team members, Diane Holland and Bridget Kraft, who are part of the Postcard for VA team. We're the people who answer all your emails and make sure those addresses get out there. In 2019, every candidate wanted postcards, and we had so many postcard groups that we did our big postcard palooza to see how many postcard parties we could have in 1 week. We ended up with over 100 postcard parties up and down the state. In the end, we supported 51 candidates, and we were so proud that we got Shelley Simon elected and Josh Cole elected. And what did that result with? Of course, the passage of the ERA. Woo!
And even the people that lost on 2019 contacted to us and said, thank you for sowing blue seeds in my area. Thank you for supporting me. In some cases, Postcards for VA was the only group supporting them. And that's where we launched the Sowing Blue Seeds. It's the way to do it, everyone. So thanks for voting for the people who are the underdogs.
And then in 2020, we had never stopped from 2019. The 2019 postcard writers, the minute the election was over, they were already writing for 2020. As they say, can't stop, won't stop. But in 2020, our postcard writers weren't only writing for our candidates, they were the first ones to write for the swing states, to do voter reg. If there was a campaign writing postcards, we were leading the way. No one could ever say postcards writers in Virginia don't pay back. In 2020, we started writing for our 3 wonderful congressional candidates who we got in office in 2018. We also were writing for all of the candidates trying to flip the districts. But you know, it's our way to make sure everyone votes. So pretty soon we were writing postcards for everybody. And we were particularly happy that we were writing for VA CD9 that didn't even have a candidate because yes, we plant blue seeds. And then when Irina announced that she was gonna run for HD 29, we went ahead and supported her. So now, let's look at do our countdown. Here's some photos of our amazing volunteers, yay, as they were getting ready to take their postcards to the mailbox. Have a little message here from the Vienna group. Postcards. And of course, postcard writers do it with love. A kiss into the mailbox. Are you ready? Here we go.
Woo! We're ready.
How many? How many? Come on. Ain't no stopping us.
Ain't no stopping us. No. Yay! 435,000. Yay!
435,000. You did it.
We did it. Yay. And we did it in a pandemic, you guys.
Don't forget that, right?
That did not stop you. You kept going in the darkness. Good for you. Thank you.
Amazing that we could write these many. Just amazing. So, who did we write these for? We wrote these for a slate of incredible candidates. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jen, who's going to go through our candidates who are here today and let them say a few words.
Let's start with Abigail. I see that she's on the line. We have my Abigail Spanberger bumper sticker. I have my Abigail Spanberger vote cards. We did voter registration for Abigail, and we're very excited and just so impressed with the work you've been doing, Abigail. And if you're ready, we'd love for you to unmute and join us and tell us a little bit about how you are. If you're ready to, say hello.
I am so excited to say hello, and I see, looking through these phenomenal little boxes of people, I see some great 7th District folks. Thank you for all that you do for everybody who's written a postcard to our district. I know you all have had the experience. I know you know how this works, but literally at the polls, people will hold the postcards up and say that they are just so excited. You know, someone wrote me, someone engaged. I heard it in 17, in 18, and 19 at the polls. So thank you for continuing to engage with voters. Thank you for continuing to ensure that people know about the election and feel that personal touch, particularly during this pandemic. That personal touch is so important. So I'm grateful for all the work that you do. I'm running for re-election here in Virginia's 7th district in Central Virginia, and I have been proud to work on the priorities of the people that I represent, lowering the cost of prescription drugs, expanding greater access to broadband internet connectivity. I serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee and on the Agriculture Committee, and I am working hard for the people of Central Virginia and the people of Virginia, and I'm just so grateful to all of the work that you all do, particularly during this pandemic, where many of the usual events on a campaign change. Certainly, we don't have the parades and the community events in the same way. And so this personal connection that you all are bringing directly to voters, not to mention the information that you're including, is so vitally important to getting the word out, to making sure people have the information they need to make an informed vote. So I'm grateful for all of your work. Thank you for your commitment to our democracy, to engaging voters, and to make sure that people know exactly how to move forward with using their voice. I'm excited about our re-election efforts, and I'm just so grateful for all of your support and all of your efforts.
Thank you. Round of applause for Abigail. Get back in there, go back to work and on the campaign trail. We love it. All right, let's swing over to Jennifer, please. Jennifer Weston, who, by the way, just introduced some legislation yesterday about how to prevent the spread of misinformation and disinformation in COVID-19, which I was like, oh, that's so important.
Imagine that, right?
Yeah, please. How are you doing?
Wonderful. It's so great to see everybody. It was so much fun. I was sitting there just scrolling through screen after screen of all these happy faces. And I cannot tell you how much this has given me the warm fuzzies today when I really, really needed it. I mean, this has been a rough week for all of us. In fact, it's been a rough 4 years for all of us. But, we don't pull the covers up over our heads. We organize and we strategize, and then we get to work. And that's exactly what you guys have done. And that's why we had these fantastic upgrades in 2017, in 2018, and in 2019. And that's why Virginia is really giving hope to the rest of the country. We've seen it again and again. And I know Abigail and I keep hearing, you guys have really got it figured out in Virginia. We need to replicate that all around the world. So it's wonderful to see everybody. No sooner do we have an election than we have another election. And it feels like we've been doing this for a long time, but these postcards make a huge, huge difference. I think Abigail was absolutely right that everybody, when we hear about the postcards, people say, yeah, I got this lovely handwritten postcard. And we got one too. I didn't get one, but my husband got one. and it just makes a big difference. So I think he's actually going to vote for me now. So thanks.
Awesome.
And in a time when we don't have those personal touches, these handwritten postcards make such a huge, huge difference. So I want to thank you for everything that you're doing and everything that you're going to help, writ large across the Commonwealth and across America, because together we will win. And when we vote, we win. Thank you so much.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. Round of applause, please, for Jennifer. Great. And then let's swing to our last representative, Miss Luria. Would you mind giving us a few words?
Certainly, Jen. Well, it's thanks for having me, and it's great to see everybody here. I'm 435,000. That's an amazing number. And really, really appreciate everybody's dedication to supporting those of us who ran in 18 and flipped these seats. And I know this is year over year over year, you just keep growing. So the postcards just keep getting to more people. And I'll just echo what my two colleagues, Abigail and Jennifer, said. We love working together as the 3 Virginia women. And I'll echo what they said, that it truly is a personal touch that someone can get a handwritten note in their mailbox. And they notice that above and beyond, other printed materials that they receive. So I really appreciate everybody's time and energy to do this, to continue to reach voters. And, we have tough free elections, so it does make a difference. And in 18, we took the Virginia delegation from 4-7 to 7-4. And I know we can keep growing that majority in Virginia, and there's more great Virginia candidates who are joining today. So please take time to listen to how things are going for them. That they have tough races, and Abigail, Jennifer, and I are doing everything we can to make sure we can come back and keep doing good work for Virginia. So thank you again.
Thank you. We were so proud of you in 18, and we will be proud of you again in 20. I went and did a fangirl thing and went through the Longworth office, right? And to like look at all your offices and take pictures, because I was just so proud and happy. So I hope to do that again in 20. We'll do that. And let's get some more. Let's change it from 4.7 to 7.4 plus. Let's go to Cameron Webb next, if we can. A great candidate. I just saw your Facebook post about going into your shift with a heavy heart, working your 12 hours, coming back out. You're doing it all, man. You're working on all fronts. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Well, first off, thanks so much for inviting me here this afternoon. And my goodness, 435,000 postcards. That's incredible. You are truly making this happen, making this work. So thank you so much. And thanks to everybody who's been tagging me on social media when they write postcards. You get a lot of, I'll just say you get a lot of trash on Twitter, but it's always great when you get like a reassuring, reaffirming kind of message like these postcards. So thank you so much. And yeah, for those who don't know me, I'm a physician and lawyer and professor at the University of Virginia, and I continue to doctor and do policy work and teach at the university while running full-time this campaign. So it is kind of crazy at times. I worked in the coronavirus unit earlier this week, and in the midst of everything that's going on, it's certainly tough sometimes, but I think that what makes the difference and what reminds me every single day that this is all worth it is seeing the energy that you all have, seeing the passion that you bring into these conversations about making our nation better, stronger, changing the occupant of the White House, flipping the Senate, and adding some more Democrats to the Virginia delegation. That's important work, and we know that it has the potential to be transformational work. So thank you so much. I'll close here because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I show my daughter some of the postcards that you all will post on social media. And last night I came home and she had written me a postcard on the back of one of mine. So you are inspiring the next generation of postcard writers. So keep it up. Thank you for all your support, for all your help, and let's go win another seat.
Qasim, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? Great. Well, thank you so much for, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, 435,000, it hasn't said enough yet, but I'm going to keep saying it. That's an incredible number. And I think the only thing more incredible about that is knowing the amazing history that you have already built out. It's going to be dwarfed next year, which is even more exciting for the future of Virginia. I'll just share a quick anecdote that left me, I'm still chuckling about it. Somebody left a comment on one of my social media accounts that I don't trust him because he's getting so many people to write postcards for him, and I've gotten 4 or 5 postcards already. And somebody responded, but doesn't that mean you should trust him because people care enough about him that they're randomly writing to you? And the person said, I never looked at it that way. I thought it was some kind of a conspiracy. And I think the beauty of this is that when we organize, we win. And we're demonstrating that our campaign and our party really is a big tent party. It's an inclusive party. It's a party built on compassion, on hope, on progress. And these postcards are kind of a cross-section of that. It's people from all walks and backgrounds coming together and saying, I'm going to take time out of my life. I'm going to sacrifice time away from family and friends to do something extraordinarily important, because I recognize that this is not just an election, it's a referendum on the kind of country we want. And we all want a country built on these elements of compassion and justice. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything you're doing. I know you don't have to, and I know you're doing it because you want to build that more perfect union that our nation was founded upon. And that's what's going to help us win, not only on November 3rd, but make sure that on November 4th, we can continue to elevate every single marginalized person. We're fighting for expanded healthcare access, making sure that broadband is accessible to every single person, regardless of where they live in our Commonwealth, and protecting our environment in this existential threat of climate change. And the work you're doing is helping us build out that infrastructure. So
Oh,
thank you so much.
Qasim.
And if anybody wants to get involved with our campaign, just email us, organizing@rashidforva.com. And we look forward to winning together on November 3rd.
Beautiful. Thank you. This is a postcard we're sending for you right here. It's colorful, it's happy, it's sending with love. So I love it. It's great. Thank you very much. Perfect. Excellent. And then Nicholas Betts, how are you today? Where are you today? Lexington?
Lexington, yes. And I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on here today and for writing postcards. 435,000 is an impressive number. And thank you for all the postcards you've written for me here in the 6th District. It's greatly appreciated. We're a grassroots volunteer-based campaign, and having, these postcards come in and help us out has been truly valuable, and we really appreciate it very much. And I think it's a big reason why we're going to see a blue wave this November, and we're going to pick up some seats, and we're going to send Joe Biden to the White House and Kamala Harris, as well as re-elected Mark Warner. Thank you so much for the work that y'all are doing. I'm going to fight hard if elected to increase access to healthcare, to affordable healthcare, to make sure that we have well-funded early childhood education and K-12 programs, and that higher education is affordable and accessible. And I think we can work together here with the Virginia congressional delegation, and really work together to bring some positive change. And thank y'all for the hard work you put in to help get us to this point. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. And this is a postcard we're writing for you. It's a good day to vote. It's upside down. It's a good day to vote. We got to vote. It's election season. It's great.
Thank you.
Excellent. And then Irina, are you with us?
I have not found Irina. Are you there, Irina? If you are, unmute yourself and let us know.
We have so many great candidates this year. I mean, it really has been a pleasure. Oh, there she is. Yeah.
Irina, you're here?
I don't think yet. So it has totally been an honor and pleasure, all of the candidates, to be able to write for you. I mean, you've given to us kind of a way and a voice to make that personal touch with your voters and plant those blue seeds and turn out the vote. And we're just really cheering for you from the bottom of our heart. So we want to thank you very much for putting yourselves out there and running. It's great. And we have so much love to share in Virginia. We also want to share it with North Carolina. Is my friend Josh on the line? Josh and I have a friendly rivalry. Josh is in Arlington, I'm in Alexandria, and we're trying to see who can write more postcards to get out the vote in North Carolina. In North Carolina, every vote counts 3 times, right? President, Senate, and local. So very important.
Well, Josh isn't on, so why don't you say a few words, Jen, about Carolina candidates?
Great. So here's one of our North Carolina cards is being, the first in flight, making sure that we are keeping it, making sure that it's blue. I read some statistic of how there's, $1 billion being spent in North Carolina to make sure Cal Cunningham, to make sure that goes presidential. And there are just all of these wonderful state legislation candidates to make sure that the whole state stays blue. Writing to do that has just been an honor to make sure that we are getting out the vote in many of these rural districts, just like our beloved Virginia, and sending as much as we can to get down there. So you can still get addresses in North Carolina. Right now on Postcards for Virginia, there's how many thousand, Robin?
For North Carolina, I think I just put in 3,000 today, but we have about 3,000 today. They're going to continue putting them in because in North Carolina, we can write till October 10th.
Great. So a little bit more of a runway there. So as your groups are finding the satisfaction of mailing all those great Virginia cards, please consider flipping over to North Carolina and getting out the vote there. So same kind of message, right? Just make sure that, that personal touch. When we vote, we win, and your voice makes a difference to do that. So very excited about North Carolina.
What site do we go to get those?
The same postcards4virginia.com. The same way you got addresses for the Virginia candidates, you can do there as well. Other questions about North Carolina?
Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
So much.
Robin, back to you.
All right, we are now ready to move on to our next section, which is all about voting. And we are so excited today to have Kate Hanley joining us. I'm going to spotlight Kate. There you go, Kate. And Kate is a member of the Fairfax Election Board. She's also former chair of Fairfax County Board of Supervisors and former secretary of a Commonwealth. Kate has done everything. And today she's going to be sharing. Can you turn on your, unmute yourself, Kate? No. You're having trouble with your audio? Oh, darn. So you can't turn off your audio? Well, then in that case, what I'm going to invite you to do, Kate, is to go out, come back in the Zoom, and we'll come back to you as soon as you get back in. No?
I'm afraid if she goes out, she won't be able to get back in. Yeah, and she's obviously got something to say about that.
She's got a lot to say, but unfortunately, we can't hear you. Okay. So while Kate's doing that, and I'm going to come back in, what I'm going to do is we're going to move on to, so what can we be doing now? Oh, wait, Kate, you came, your audio's on. I am so happy.
Here's the problem. You sent me a link that just said Zoom US, not all the other numbers.
I'm so glad you're here. And what we'd like you to do is if you could give us maybe just a moment update on what's going on in Fairfax.
Well, how about if you send me a link so I can put down my phone so I can do that? And I'll talk while you're doing that, but I am holding my cell phone is the problem. Let me start with saying in Fairfax, as you all know, there are 3 ways to vote this year. You can vote in person. On election day, we're going to stand up all our precincts. We have taken COVID for all kinds of protections. We had a practice for that on, I'm making everybody seasick, I think, because I can't hold my own. And wait a minute.
No, it's really good. It's very hip. You got it. Keep going.
Thank you. So that well, where was I? We had a run through for the primary. Many of you voted by mail in the primary, but we polled our election workers. It was extremely safe. People, most of them were, all but a very few apparently, we polled them, wore face coverings. We asked you to do that, but all our poll workers did. So we have all 243 precincts ready to go. The other 2 ways are more or less old-fashioned absentee by mail. There are several changes this year. You do not need an excuse to vote absentee. So you can go to your satellites, which will open on the 14th, and usually I read those, on the 14th of October, all the way through till the 31st of October, which we usually think of as Halloween, but this year we're thinking of it as the last day to vote absentee, or you can apply by mail. The best way to apply by mail is to do it online at vote.virginia.gov so that we can, it's less paper and less complication. This year, you do not need a witness to sign when you apply for your absentee. You don't need a witness. You will get an envelope that's pre-stamped, but this year we have drop-off locations, and they will be at all the polling places on election day, so you don't have to stand in the line. You don't have to go into the room. You can just drop your ballot in the envelopes that we send you, both of them, back in the drop-off box. And then, or You can come and drop them off any hour of the day and night because we have a secure box out front with a camera on it. There are two types of drop-off boxes, the ones that will be at the satellites and the ones that'll be at your polling places, and they'll be staffed by election officers. They'll be guarded, but they're only there when the satellites are open. And there's a whole long list on the Fairfax County website of 14 of them. So you, or you can go to the satellite. So there's several choices. New this year, again, no excuse. You don't need a witness. You get a stamped envelope. You don't need a photo ID. And I will take questions because I'd rather talk about what you want to talk about than the whole long series of things.
Kate, I'm going to start with questions. One question we get a lot is, what if I got my absentee ballot, but then I decide I want to, hand it in person? What do I need to do?
Well, you can take it to the drop box at the satellite or the polling place. You can take it to the polls and go into the poll on election day and surrender it and vote on the machine. You can also do that at the satellites. Take it in, surrender it, and vote on the machine. But dropping it off in a drop box is much easier.
All right, we have a question here. Are the drop boxes at the government centers, are they available yet? One said it wasn't available yesterday.
The outside one will be available. We've got the camera on it now, will be available tomorrow. The inside one is available right now. You don't have to stand in the line. It's available and it'll be available all next week. We're not open on Saturdays here. The satellites will be open 1 to 7 at the 14 satellite locations, and on Saturday 9 to 5. Here at the government center, which is going to be open all next week as well, will be open until the 14th actually, all working days from 8 to 4:30. And on Saturdays we're not open on Saturdays again till the 17th. Someone just asked, you don't need a photo ID. You do need an ID. You have to have an ID, but it doesn't have to be a photo ID.
All right.
Okay. Another question. My husband and I requested our absentee ballots weeks ago. He got his, but I didn't get mine yet. What should I do?
Hang on. If you don't get it within the next week or so, go online and reapply again, but it may be lost. But I don't think so. Just hold on a little bit if he got his. Did you apply at the same time?
We did.
Okay, then it's coming.
It's coming, great. Another question, when will all the ballots actually be counted in Virginia?
Okay, there's something different about counting. Let me talk about pre-processing and counting. We are going to start first when an absentee ballot comes in from the mail. We log it in. We don't open it because that's one of these labeling issues that's on the outside. We log it in that you have submitted an absentee ballot so that you can't go again and vote again. You can only vote once. But we log it in, and then starting on the 28th, we will pre-process those ballots. We will go through and check the envelope, check if they're legitimate, and then count the ballots, and then put them through the machine is a better way to put that, and then send those ballots to the court for safekeeping. We cannot start tallying all our machines of all our absentees until 3 o'clock on election day, so we can't report results. But we are going to start counting. You vote on the machine at the satellite. We're going to start pre-processing. Now, what we receive on election day, and probably if we get flooded the day before, we may not get, we'll try to, usually we get all of those counted and report everything on election night. We may not be able to get our drop boxes from the election polls counted. They are absentees. So we may not be able to get them counted, but this year, another change, you have, voters have until Friday noon to get their ballots to us. They have to be postmarked. That's through the mail. I wouldn't suggest that you just, what I would suggest is the minute you get your ballot, if you're going to vote absentee by mail, do it right then and send it back. But they must be postmarked on election day, and we must receive them by Friday noon. So the story that elections are never over on election day is going to be a little more true this year than ever, because we will have some absentees left to count and report after Friday noon. Now, it's not an unknown number. We know the total that we've sent out. Right now, we've sent out 170-some thousand absentee ballots. We know how many total we will send out. We know how many total people will have sent in. And so we'll know the total possible outside number that could come back. So it's not like there are zillions and zillions left to come back. We will know that number. So it's kind of a standard situation. If you go to the polls and say, I left my absentee ballot at home, but I want to vote on the machine, we will have you vote provisionally. So take it with you if you insist to do that, because we want it, because that's one of the safeguards. You can't vote twice. That's a rule. That's the law.
Good. Let's do that. Right.
Any other questions?
Another question. What's happening with the absentee ballots until you count them? Like, how do you keep those secure?
Well, that's what I was saying. We have locked rooms here where we keep them, what we call ballot rooms. And we have, we document the chain of custody. And then when they are pre-processed, as I mentioned earlier, we send them to the court for safekeeping. The clerk of the court, John Fry, keeps them.
Great. So they go from the drop boxes to these safe rooms. To
ours,
the
to where we pre-process them, and after we pre-process them, run them through the machine and pre-process them, they go to they're sent to the court, and as we send all our ballots to the court ultimately, and they are saved and guarded.
That helps us immensely because we get a lot of questions, right? As quote unquote activists, like what's happening, and it's nice to be able to calmly say, this is the process, and right, to kind of calm the fears that are out there. So
now let me say that while we don't expect as many people to come to the polls on election day as did 4 years ago, we have long lines outside the government center right now to vote this week, because it's really not when the satellites have started, but none of these are record lines for us. Usually what happens is the last 2 days, what would be the 30th and 31st in 2016, we had about 2,000 people come through. The most we've had come through, even though the lines look long, and we have 2 rooms open, is 1,200. And why is that? Well, why is that is because everybody is being really good about social distancing outside the government center. And I looked at and thought, oh my goodness, there's 2,000 people in one of these lines, and there were only 368. Somebody had counted them. The other thing is, it's a long ballot in Fairfax County. Besides the people that you vote for on the front, there are 2 constitutional amendments and 4 bond issues. And we restrict the number of people in the room for COVID regulations. So if we get 6 voters sitting in there reading, we can't let any more people in. So we want to be sure everybody's safe and feels unthreatened by lots of people in the room where it happens. And so
I appreciate that.
That, and most people understand that the lines are not as, they're longer than they look longer than they really are.
All right. Well, thank you so much for giving us all of this update. We appreciate it tremendously. And, in our last countdown, Irina is now in the room. So Jen, I want you to.
Hi.
Hello.
Bye.
Bye. Good to see you, Kate. Hold on, I unmute myself.
Okay.
Nice. Irina, welcome. Where are you today?
Hi.
Are you in Winchester?
Winchester, yes.
Very nice. Please tell us about the only Virginia delegate race that's happening in Virginia, how we can help get the word out.
Well, so first let me put my best foot forward and tell you what's going on, and the achievements so far, and why we think it's such a great opportunity. And I guess that's the same thing that you're going to be telling people. So I ran last year for the same seat, House of Delegates District 29, against Chris Collins. It was the first kind of full-fledged state legislative challenge here for a while. I mean, Casey Turbin ran in 2017, but it was a very small effort. And Chris Collins stepped down, so no incumbent. He became a judge as of 7 weeks ago. I have great name recognition. So we've had texters, volunteer texters, text now for several weeks, and they reporting back great name recognition because it's just been 9 months, right? So that's a huge advantage. No incumbent Republicans are running Bill Wiley, who is a city council member and is not very well known. He was kind of a moderate-looking Republican who turned into not so moderate-looking Republican once he decided to run for the House of Delegates. But another good development is that we looked at our reports, our first such a short race, right? It got announced 6-7 weeks ago, and we only have 5 more weeks. So everything is accelerated. We had our first report just a few weeks ago, and he spent all of the money he raised on warding off the challenge from the right. He was challenged by somebody who is more right than he is. And I didn't have a challenger. So we've raised so far $70,000, which for our area is incredible in 6 weeks.
Great.
And we need more. We need to get to closer to 100. We sent our first mailer several days ago, and that went to 15,000 people, twice as many as last election. So we need to fundraise really quickly and be able to still use the money to send more mailers, because that's the best way to communicate. We're making calls. So the help we need is with telephone, with calls, with phone banking. And I think we're good with texting and contributions in a short period of span of time. And a little goes a long way with us. We don't have a huge budget. We don't need a lot. We just need to get it quickly, so we can swing this district that's been changing quite a bit. So red district, Winchester City is blue. We've had blue city council here. Actually helped with the race that tipped it over in 18. Judy McKinnon won by 3 votes. You know, it matters.
Election, every vote matters, right? Well, we have, I think we have about, we just have another minute, but we have, I think, thousands of addresses we could write for you, right? To postcards, to voters.
Yes.
And so, right?
I
think we'd like
cards, I was assuming, because that was about that. And then in addition to this, I was mentioning all the other things, but every and any additional card and vote in that size race matters hugely. Right. So we really would appreciate.
All right. So postcarding, phone banking, helping. Good.
And Irina for delegate. If people want to look up, it's my first name as far as the Facebook page and web page. Irina, IRINA 4 as a number 4 delegate. You can look up all the information you need about us. So we're
someone put that in the chat for you, and thank you so much for being a part of this. And to close us out today, we want to talk about one more thing about what people can do to help candidates, and that is to be a part of our Vote Early Win Virginia campaign. In this, we know that people can write postcards, they can phone bank, and as well as text. But we also know that there are other ways. And one way is when you vote early, join our Vote Early Challenge, where when you vote, put it on social media and challenge your friends, as you can see in the back of me, challenge your friends to vote early as well. Also putting information about Vote Early Win in the chat. We want that we'll be doing Drive the Vote, decorate your car and drive around town telling people to vote early and vote. Have a yard-side garden in your front yard.
Yeah.
Here at the polls. And then we're gonna have a big Vote Early Win rally on the 23rd, so to encourage people to vote early. But if you wanna know what things you can do beyond phone banking and text banking, go to voteearlywinva.com, because there is something for everyone. So, as is tradition, we are going to dance our way out today. We're going to be turning off the recording, turning off Facebook Live, so that we can dance our way out of here. Because there's one thing that's clear, is that there is